Welcome, YouTubers. Just wanted to do a quick video on some things that I've done research on my phone. I've got the Z Fold 4 Flip. Just bought that phone, and that is going to be my primary carry. What you see here is the S22 Ultra. It is the biggest, baddest phone they have in that line as far as memory and everything like that. This is a good phone. I had a SUP case, Beetle case on it. Added a lot of bulk to it. I like the case, but it did add a lot of bulk. It made the phone pretty big. This is probably my 6th large format phone that Samsung gives out. Let me just preface to say that I am a Samsung believer. All my product when it comes to phone is Samsung. I don't discount the iPhone. It is a very good quality build phone. Their cameras are good. Their software is stable. Things are fast. Don't get me wrong. I was a huge Apple fan. I had Apple TV, Apple iPads, phones, computers, you name it. If it was said Apple, I had it. What did it in for me was when I had the iPhone 6s Gold 64 gig version. It was the highest one Apple had out, and they released version 7.41. That was the first version where they had messaging issues, and in my opinion, when Tim Cook was no longer with the company, the quality of the phone wasn't going to be the way that Tim Cook demanded it to be, if I'm saying his name correctly. Not an Apple guy anymore. But that's not to beat on Apple. I'm here to show you what does Samsung offer. So I am trading this phone in for my Z Fold. So there it is. It's going away. It is cleared out. I'm going to do this first, as I am not here to tell you what case is the best. I am not here to tell you what you should buy. I'm not here to review 50 cases and confuse the hell out of you. I just want to bring some sense to what I found, what I thought people should know. Here's probably the coolest, neatest thing that I found for my Fold is that I have this. This is a wireless charger. Stuff falling. Oh, hell, it's all falling. Oh, well. But the Fold fits in, and when it senses it's in there, it automatically closes, it wirelessly charges, and it holds it. Now it has a ball-style joint in the back that you can get to mount to your car. It has a suction cup with a long arm, and it also has a vent. Now, come on, man, this phone is heavy. I don't know the vent's going to work. This is the one I got. There's two versions of it out there. This one just says auto clamping car mount on the description of the box. It is made by QC or QSEA, QOOSEA dual coils, fast charging. Even if the car turns off, this has a super capacitor in the back, so you still hit the button to release the phone, grab the phone, take it off. You don't have to restart the car, so that's kind of cool. Let it clamp back down. It's clamped. I'm going to unplug it. You'll see. Hit the button, take the phone out. Car's off, turned off, things like that. Because in my Dodge car, it definitely turns off. So let's get into cases. What I really didn't like about some of the cases, and I didn't buy the phone right away, is because it doesn't hold the S Pen like my S22 Ultra does, and that was bothersome. I don't like a case that's oblong. These cases make it hard to get to the buttons. A buddy of mine has this case, or a style like it. He swears by it because it would just made the most sense. The thing that I'm looking for is I take a lot of notes, so I don't want a lot of wobble on my phone, and if you don't have a case, you're going to have a camera bump and you're going to have a wobble when you go to use it. So that's what I'm going to get into, what's important here. This is my case of choice. It is made by Torres, and there's a reason for that. Not only do they give you a cool box when they open it, name brand, they're simple, they work. it adds the least amount of bulk to this phone, and I'm going to show you why, even against a Spigen, Spidgen, whatever you want to call it, case. This particular case does have the phone holder on the side. This is not as long as the Spigen case. That's how I say it, live with it. So I have to make sure my pen has a flat spot so it doesn't roll off of a table. That flat spot gets put towards the phone and it allows it to sink into that a little further. I can close the case. It does not cover the spine. Not a big deal for me because this is the very first phone that I'm carrying a insurance plan on through Samsung. So, but the case is nice. What I like about it, and I'm going to show you the case-like type to it, these edges are smooth. I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but when you're paying darn near $2,000 for your phone, you want a premium case. A big phone, a half a millimeter makes a big difference. It really does. So this is what caught me with the Spigen case, and I'm going to show you. When I took the pen out, these were just sharp. It didn't feel good, and you're holding the phone, you're texting, you're writing. Luckily, I'm left-handed, so it didn't bother me as much. But if you weren't and you're writing, these were just rough, and it just didn't feel like a finished case. I've had other Spigen cases, and I'll have to say the same thing I found to be true. It had a cutout down here on one of mine, and I actually had to file this down on my old Note 10 because it was real rough when you would, put your finger down here. You're holding it, and it didn't feel good to me. So this case, all smooth edges. Tora did a great job with this case. It feels like a absolute premium case. I like the rubberized texture to the back, so it's a little easier to hold. One thing I would have loved is if it would have had a, like my old SUP case, something like that is small, folds out of the way, but I get it. To do that, you have to add bulk to the phone. But these are big phones, and when you're writing on them, last thing you want to do is drop a $1,500 phone because you're writing on it. A $2,000 phone because you've got it open. You're cruising through, you're writing, and it falls out of your hand, shatters to the ground. That's called having a really bad day. So this is the case. I love it. This is the Tora case. It's easy to come off. It does not have any adhesive on it. At first, I didn't know I was sold on it because it didn't have the adhesive, but man, when it clicks on. It's a beautiful case. It is my case of choice. We'll get that later, fell to the ground. The phone's beautiful. Obviously, without a case, God, we'd all love to run our phones like it because it's thin, it's small, it looks great. Samsung did a beautiful job with it, but it's a pain in the ass to open. But we have to have cases. So let's move on to the case that's closest to the Tora. This is the Spigen case. And I'm not going to go through the unwrapping. Sorry about that with the camera. Everything dropping to the ground. I'm not a professional. I do my own videos. I don't pay people to do them. This was the runner-up case. And I'm a Spigen guy through and through. Don't get me wrong. I have bought many of their cases because I think they're price competitive and they work. They give you some extra adhesive. This may be the case for other people, and I get it. It's a brand name case. It has air pockets in the corner, just as a Tora does. It is a beautiful case. I like the texture. What's different about this case? Let's put it on. Snaps on. I'm not going to do the adhesive. Oops, backwards. First and foremost, I bought all of these off of Amazon. I don't buy stuff to review it and return stuff. I didn't know what kind of case I wanted because I hadn't had this phone. It's not like I can go into Amazon and say, hey, pull this, this, and this. Let's see what fits. We're not buying a pair of shoes from a store here. So some of these cases are going to go back, and I'm going to clean them up. They're going to look professional going back. That's not my mode of operandi, whatever you call it, mode of whatever. I don't do that, and I know people do. I think it's frustrating because those are normal sellers. This is a good case. It's a little thicker right here, and I'll show you by about a half a millimeter. This pen sticks out a little further. It doesn't matter how that pin goes in there. It is protected. And you can see it actually lays down inside there. So that pin's not coming out. But it's not coming out of my Tora case either. I guarantee it. Now, if my kid uses the phone and doesn't put the pin in correctly, I can't guarantee I'm not going to lose a pin. But for me, I take care of my stuff. But, sorry, $2,000 phone, little Johnny's not touching this thing, hands off. I just don't share my phone with my kids. I never have. But here's what I didn't like about the case. That's a sharp feeling corner right there. It gets stuck. And when you go to put this in your pocket, as little as it seems, that's going to get caught on the side of your pocket. It's just going to become a pain in the ass. It's just going to become something you deal with. I could see getting something like that caught in that case doing exactly like that. Now keep in mind, to their defense, I did not put the adhesive on this phone. But even this is a little more see, it's just things like that that just gave me a better feel for this phone. This is a little more rigid. That's hence why I liked it and went with it. I guess I might have to pick up this other case because I'm going to show you the difference in size. But that's the Spigen case. Now, here's a couple things I liked about the Spigen. The buttons here are easier to access because you don't have anything covering the buttons for the volume rocker. That's good and bad. Take it or leave it, whatever you want. But this was easier to unlock this phone because by the time you just push the button, boom, it unlocks. But it is a little bigger. The raised section here for the camera is a little higher. One thing Spigen did, pays attention to detail, they gave you this little foot right here. Now, I don't see wobble in my Tora case. But the Spigen case, they gave you a little foot for a reason. That's important because that raise matches that foot. Same height all the way across, so you're not going to get a wobble back and forth. Now, with any case that I had, there was a minute amount of wobble. Well, you know, I can't guarantee my surface of my desk is perfect, so take that for what it is. But I do like the case as far as the beveled edges. I think that looks good. It looks professional. It matches the design of what Samsung was doing. Whereas the Tora case is a little more rounded. It's just a preference thing. I think Spigen makes a great case. Not gonna lie. If I didn't test this case, I would go with this case all day long. Make sure I cover everything here. But it is a little hard to get the pin out, which again, don't hold that against them because I did, like I said, I didn't glue this thing in. But to get the pin out, it's a little harder, so you're not gonna lose it there. But let me show you the difference in the cases. So here's a Spigen, take it off. This poor phone's going to be broken by the time I get done with all these darn cases. Because I've taken them all off and on and on and off and really trying to test them. Here's the two cases. These match up almost dead on as far as height. Sorry, I move over. They don't add a lot of bulk to the phone. It's a huge phone already. So you need a case without a lot of bulk. I get it. I'm going to show you another case that has a lot of bulk. If you're that bulky kind of guy or girl, go for it. I get it. Not everybody treats their phones the same. Their environments are different. But here's where we get into the difference. Not only are these smoother edges, and if you can see that, compared to these, they're rough. I don't care for that feel. It feels rough, like it has molding marks that they didn't sand down. It's just attention to detail. But look, they gave you those details, so Spigen had it. They had their name on these things. I mean, they did a lot, but they just didn't do enough, in my opinion. I don't know that you can see that, but you can see the difference. That's probably about a little over 1 millimeter difference in height. That's a big issue. That causes, just making sure I'm recording here, that causes bulk. And when you're talking about a phone that's already big, 1.5 millimeters, 1 millimeter or a little more than 1 millimeter makes a big difference in your hand. Your hand feels it. So that's why I didn't like this case, is because of the sharp edges, the Spigen case. The sharp edges and the bulk just added up, especially when you got one half of the clamshell bigger than the lower half where your finger's going to go. That's a huge difference, guys, gals. That was enough for me that Spigen, great quality product. I have been a huge fan of your product. Unfortunately, I defected and went out and found some things that I like better. So, moving on. This is another case. This one's made by Blazon, Blayhu, somebody, I don't know. Armor Box Design for the Samsung. And I'm going to try to put all the links in this if I can. I usually get lazy. Like I said, I make my own videos, so I get lazy. I just throw it out there because you guys want information. You don't want unboxing and crap like that. Everybody knows how to open a Christmas present. I don't have to get a big knife out and show you I'm opening it with a machete. That's just stupid shit in my opinion. But to each their own. This is a big case. It's huge. It's huge. I wish I could say it like Trump, but I can't. I'll put this thing on the right way. It opens up. Sorry, out of the screen here. Opens up, snaps on. This is a big case. This is going to offer you a lot of protection. Has a screen protector built in. That's a big deal. I'm not going to lie. That's a big deal. I got to get a separate one for mine. Has little micro dots on it. Things like that. But it snaps in like so. Comes on. That's the case. This gives you full hinge protection. Again, I'm not taking any of the adhesives off of this. Don't knock the cases for it. The idea here is you can put your pen in there. Now, let's be honest. That pocket's big enough for 2 or 3 joints. Philly blunt, whatever you want to put in there. Almost a damn set of car keys. I think they could have made that smaller, in my opinion. But I don't know. Maybe the tolerances are there. I can't get in there to see when it's closed how that looks. But it does protect the side. This adds a ton of bulk. Again, you have the ability to open it up and use that. I thought, look at that, big problem, because now I can't get my finger all the way through there. So I barely got a hold of this phone as I'm writing, better than I did in the other 2 cases, don't get me wrong, hands down. But when this phone is in the open position where I need it most, where I think most people will need it most, they can't use that option right there. So that's when I looked at this case and said, even as I'm going out riding the trails in my quad side by side, doing work on the farm kind of case, this wasn't an option for me. The buttons were okay, kind of hard to get to. It's weird because you do have to open this, then open the phone, because if you don't, you see it's starting to pop out there. That is a problem that I found as well. It didn't seem to fit great for me. Wasn't the case for me. I do like the ability to, store a roll of dimes in there if you ever needed to. Then you just push on the back here and you open that case. Now, here's a big deal for you, okay? They'll call that a kickstand for good reason. But you're going along, you're cruising along, you're writing. Let's get the pen out. You're writing. I don't know anybody that just writes in the bottom of their screen, but okay, now you're doing this, you're having to hold it with your hand, you're writing, blah, 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 blah. But that, it gives you some view angle, but big deal, you can do that already. That's why this case is a no-go for me as well, for that reason there. So that's your case. Let's see if I covered everything. Big case, can't use finger while you got that open. It's just overall, it's a bulky design. It really is. But again, this isn't said to be a thin case. They're not trying to advertise it as a thin case. They're trying to advertise it as a full case hinge protection, going to protect everything. But I just didn't think it fit well, in my opinion. So no additional foot. You can see those hinges are taller. So even if the phone was like this, it still has the potential to rock back and forth. That's annoying as hell. I've dealt with my primary cases on most of my phone have been the quad lock cases because I ride motorcycles, quad runners, and I use a quad lock. So I have never had a case in the last 3 years that's not had some kind of wobble. Because if you know, the quad lock has a bulge right there to lock in. So moving on to another case, because I thought, okay, this one's going to be the cat's meow. Oh, by the way, this will charge wirelessly because it's all plastic. That's key, important to know For those that don't plug their phone in, I rarely plug my phone in. Your Spigen case, your Torres case, they all charge wirelessly. So that's important to me, especially if you're going to get the nifty little automobile deal that I showed you. This one right here, this is the Goton, the G-O-T-O-N. And again, I'm not going by brand names. I'm giving you styles because I think it's important that people understand the different style of cases so it helps you match what you want. I had a lot of hopes for this case. I really did, and there's reason for it. Let me get it open here. I apologize. Yeah, I'm not doing unboxings and shit like that. You're not open Christmas presents. This case right here has a built-in screen protector. It's blue case. It's not huge. It is not as big as the last one we just looked at. Slides on. This has a couple stickies in there to help you protect or to keep this case on. It does snap on relatively well without the stickies. That's up to you. Problems. I love this part of it because the case is this small, does not add near as amount of bulk as this case right here. But again, okay, so you can throw this against the wall and it survives. To each their own. But what I liked about this case is it has a pretty cool idea of a storage for the pen. And this cover just snaps on and off. And by doing that, I thought I could use this, before I do it, like this to write, by taking this deal off, but no go, no go. So, case didn't work for me. So that was what I thought, is by taking this side cover off. I don't break this because it's not a cheap case. If I do, I own it. Okay, so there, now it's on. It's supposed to go up there a little further. It doesn't. It has this weird gap in it. I'm pretty certain I got it installed completely. But the pen difference in this is it slides down. Good luck getting the pen out. Doesn't secure it really well. Hopefully I'm not off the screen. It's not a fan. Still got the bulk there. You're gonna wobble, but to each your own. Maybe somebody needs that 10, 15 degree tilt on their phone, and that makes all the sense in the world. Unfortunately, you can't put a roll of dimes in that like you could the other one. It's not as big. But that makes a bulky case. It really does. Problem I found is it's also recessed here too far on this button, and I couldn't get my finger in there. It's even hard to get it in there with it open. You will not be able to unlock that phone. I mean, you're going to be putting your finger in like that and unlocking it with the keys. Major pain in the ass. By the way, thank you, Samsung. The thing that I hated on this phone is that under the screen fingerprint scanner, it sucked on the model I had before. It sucks on this model I have now. It was the dumbest thing Samsung did, in my honest opinion. Other people may like it, to each their own, but it very rarely worked. I think they were in a race to Apple to see who could do it. Okay, you won the race. Apple didn't do it. This case just is not a go for me. It's bulky. This was flimsy. Even without this, it just didn't work. But okay, let's get into features and show you why somebody may want this case, though. Take this thing off and don't use it. Ditch it. Do whatever if you don't use the pen. Whatever. It's not a bad case without that, if I take that thing off. Sorry, I take it off the screen so I don't break it. That's not a bad case for you right there. That's a nice looking case. The buttons are protected, a little inconvenient here, but not a lot of trade-off. It is a rubber and a hard plastic, but it protects your cameras. It completely protects your cameras. So if you are one that puts this in your pocket with keys, I don't. My right pocket, the only thing that ever goes in there is my phone. This would allow you to protect your camera. What I thought was a huge thing for this phone was that right there. Again, same problem with this on there and open. In that position, you couldn't put your finger all the way through, although you could get a little crooked on that pen because of how that pen holder was designed. A little better, or holding the phone. Again, $2,000 phone, you're writing, you're talking, you're doing whatever, you're not going to lose that phone. Major drawback, just as I thought it would be, this is metal, acts as a cool kickstand, whatever you want, you get it. Does not support wireless charging. That's a no-go for me. This would have probably been a backup case of, hey, I'm getting down to the dirty, grimy, doing whatever I need to do. I need something to fully protect my phone. This would have been the go-to case here because it's not as bulky and it gives better protection with the cameras, whatnot. Plus, if I'm out riding around and I'm taking pictures, I'm not dropping in the water, not doing stupid shit like that. But unfortunately, it just wasn't for those reasons. So, review on the case. The iBlazon. Huge case, a lot of bulk. Did not like this where you could put almost a Philly blunt in that thing and hold it. Definitely a no-go for me. Maybe for you. Remember, you're buying a really expensive phone and you got a lot of beautiful real estate, and when I'm in customers' offices and I'm writing, that's going to drive me nuts. I don't want that. I'm not going to accept that, so I chose a case that would give me less of that. Let's get these apart. Go back to the case of choice. Go into the Torah. Get it right here. I'll drop my damn phone. Be great. Put an insurance claim a couple days into this. Took a while to get. Samsung, I will admit, screwed up. They didn't order the phone. I ordered the phone. They didn't place the order for me to pick it up. So we're back to the Torah's case. I love this case. Better than the Spigen for me. If you're a Spigen person, buy it. Only drawback, pen goes in. Have to make sure the flat spot's to it. Maybe you don't. It just seems to me it fits in there a little better. Easy to access the buttons. Raised to protect your camera. Does not have an extra foot here, but I don't experience the wobble like I did on others. So pretty solid. Just a little bit here, but I experienced the same thing on the Spigen. But nothing like these wobbles on this, because that's going to drive you nuts. If you just got a flat, you're spacing out, you're Facebook and you're TikTok and doing whatever you do, you're going to want a decent case. Smooth edges, doesn't feel rough, feels like a premium. Nobody's going to get it and go, what the, man, it just doesn't feel good, like the Spigen case. So those are my case reviews. I hope that I helped in design of cases. I mentioned the names of cases so that you would know if you wanted to do more research on what I presented here. But I think the important thing is, in case designs, you have cases without a pin. I run a pin, so that's why you don't see any without it. Has to have a pin for me. So you're going to have cases that don't have pins. Look at the way they're designed. If it has an extra foot here, got hard edges, does it feel like a premium case? Or you have the design here with the pin. I chose the slimmest model that I could because I didn't want this to extrude out any more than I had to. With that, you have the other cases, big, bulky, and throw it up against the wall and still works. Puts the pin in there, roll of dimes, a couple joints, whatever you want. Cigarette, sorry. Gives you that option. It does give you hinge protection. For damage to the hinge, absolutely all day long. Will not protect dust from getting in your hinge. You're on your own. You get dust in these hinges, you're an idiot. You did it. You own it. Pay to get it fixed. Or you have a case, same kind of hinge concept. Hinge comes off and does that. And, you know, if you really need something big, badass, you don't like these cases, go to the OtterBox. OtterBox has made things. LifeProof has made things. The Sup Case Beetle Pro, beautiful case. Got one right here, love it. Price on that was phenomenal for what you get. The best tech that I bought is this badass little charger. I'm looking forward to that because I have a mount system in my truck, and this can just permanently mount in my truck. Yes, my Dodge Ram does have a place to mount phones. Lower in the console, I just don't like that because I'm following directions. I gotta look down. This is gonna allow me to add it up on top of my dash, not block the view of the windshield. not block the view of the radio, the vents, gives me wireless charging, automated clamping, and I'm looking forward to this guy right here. So any questions at all, if I missed anything, please let me know, comment. You know, again, I buy all my own stuff. This is not sanctioned by anybody else. You can see those are my notes. That's what I bought. Nobody sends me stuff. I've had people offer. I won't do that because I want to make an unbiased decision in everything that I do. And my goal is to help give information to anyone watching this video to make the best informed decision, because you're buying an expensive phone. You want to protect it, but you don't want to buy a $30 to $80 case. In my case, you're looking at $300 and some odd in cases, and then get the wrong case and not be happy with it because it doesn't fit flat or it doesn't suit your needs. This sub case, again, had this little circle here, so it worked with the under the screen thing. It looked horrible. People commented, "What's wrong with your screen?" It's because Samsung decided to put it under the screen. Don't do that, Samsung. But hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching this. I have gone and done a lot of research with the help of other people on the internet, on YouTube for cases. There are folks that will go through 30, 40 cases, things like that. Then I talked to some friends that had the phone, and he came and said, that's why I went with the Spigen case, because it fit flat, it didn't wobble. And then I saw the other Torres case. I'm like, yeah, let's give it a try. I'm glad that I did, because in my opinion, I think it's a better case for feeling than the Spigen, whatever you want to call it. So thank you for watching. Any questions, any comments, any ideas, anything with experience, please leave in the comments, because this is designed to help other people, and your comments can help other people as well. So thank you.